Crossing the Chasm by Geoffrey A. Have you ever watched something brilliant just vanish? Picture this. A groundbreaking idea launches with fireworks and fanfare. News outlets buzz about how it'll revolutionize everything. A devoted tribe of early fans absolutely loves it. And then, nothing. The money dries up. The dream dies. A few years later, you're left scratching your head, wondering what ever happened to that amazing thing. I've watched this tragedy unfold more times than I care to remember. A company arrives with a product that's objectively better than anything else out there, yet somehow it loses. Meanwhile, another company with what looks like an inferior offering becomes a household name and mints billionaires. What gives? What's this invisible force field separating a brilliant flash from enduring success? What secret did companies like Apple, Salesforce, and VMware unlock that countless others, with equally smart teams and equally innovative ideas, completely missed? For decades, this mystery haunted Silicon Valley like an unsolved crime. It was this strange phenomenon that would suddenly strike down the most promising young companies right when they should have been taking off. Everyone had theories, but nobody had an actual roadmap. Then along came a consultant named Geoffrey A. After years in the trenches, watching this same story repeat itself like a broken record, he spotted something everyone else had missed. He realized there wasn't just a barrier between early success and mainstream adoption. There was a chasm, a deep, treacherous gap that exists in every innovative product's journey, a gulf between the adventurous souls who embrace anything new and the rest of us who prefer to wait and see. In his million-copy bestseller Crossing the Chasm, which has become the entrepreneur's Bible, Moore doesn't just name this chasm. He hands us a battle-tested strategy to cross it. He draws us a detailed map for one of the most perilous journeys any new idea can take. Today, we're walking that path together. I'm going to share the profound yet surprisingly straightforward lessons from Geoffrey Moore's masterpiece. By the time we're done, you won't just understand why brilliant products fail. You'll have the actual blueprint for making sure great ideas succeed. This isn't just another book summary. This is your field guide for turning dreams into world-changing reality. So let's dive in. Imagine you've just invented something incredible. Say, the very first electric car. It's whisper-quiet, emission-free, and clearly the future. You're absolutely convinced everyone's going to want one. The traditional thinking, the fantasy every inventor harbors, is that your creation will spread like ripples across a pond. A few brave pioneers try it first. They fall in love. They tell their friends. Those friends tell their friends. Before you know it, the gentle ripple becomes a tidal wave of success, and your electric car fills every driveway in America. This vision is so compelling, it actually has a name: the technology adoption life cycle. It's usually illustrated as this beautiful, smooth bell curve, like a perfectly symmetrical hill. On the far left of this hill live the innovators. These are your tech geeks, the folks who love technology for its own sake. They're the ones who'll tear apart your electric car just to admire the engineering. Practicality doesn't matter to them. What matters is that it's new and fascinating. They're a tiny group, but absolutely essential because they prove your idea actually works. Next to them come the early adopters. These aren't necessarily techies, but they are visionaries. They're the dreamers, the forward-thinking executives who can see around corners. They look at your electric car and don't just see transportation. They see a revolution, a competitive advantage, a chance to build something extraordinary. They'll gladly take enormous risks on unproven ideas if those ideas align with their grand vision. They're the ones who give new products their first real shot at success. Together, the innovators and early adopters form what Moore calls the early market. It's an intoxicating, fast-moving world, bursting with passion and possibility. When you're selling to this crowd, everything feels effortless. Journalists are calling, sales are climbing, investors are thrilled. You feel invincible, like world domination is just around the corner. You're standing on the left side of that gorgeous hill, gazing up at the massive market ahead, ready to conquer it all. But here's where the dream shatters. Here's where Geoffrey Moore drops his bombshell revelation about that beautiful bell curve. The curve isn't smooth at all, it has fractures. And between the early adopters and the next, far larger group called the early majority, there isn't just a small crack. There's a chasm. A vast, yawning canyon where promising companies go to die. This is the book's earth-shattering insight. The people in the early market are fundamentally, completely different from people in the mainstream market. They buy for different reasons, trust different sources, and have totally different expectations. Think about it. A visionary early adopter craves revolution. They want a quantum leap forward. They're perfectly fine dealing with bugs, missing features, and products that are only 80% finished because they see the potential. In fact, they prefer that other people aren't using it yet, because exclusivity gives them an edge. They don't need testimonials from others. They want to be the testimonial. Now, who's waiting on the other side of that chasm? The early majority. Moore calls them the pragmatists. These are the sensible, careful folks who make up the bulk of any market. They're not hunting for revolutions. They want steady improvements to what they're already doing. They have zero interest in being first. Risk terrifies them. Bugs annoy them. They don't want 80% of a product. They want the complete package with all the support, training, and complementary services that go with it. And most critically, before they'll buy anything, they need to see proof. They want to talk to other people just like them who are already using it successfully. And here's the terrifying paradox. The only people who make credible references for pragmatists are other pragmatists. But no pragmatist will buy until they've heard from other pragmatists first. Those visionary early adopters you worked so hard to win? To a pragmatist, they're not credible. They're actually a red flag. Pragmatists see visionaries as reckless dreamers, always chasing the next shiny object. When they hear a visionary's glowing endorsement, they think, that's nice for them, but their world isn't my world. I have a real business to run. So you're stuck. You've exhausted the visionary market. The mainstream crowd can see you, might even be curious, but they're standing on the other side of the chasm, waiting for someone else to jump first. Your early momentum grinds to a halt. Sales flatten. Investors get nervous. Your team is burned out from trying to please all those demanding visionaries. Cash is evaporating, with no new customers in sight. You're trapped in the chasm. Moore shares cautionary tales of real products that never escaped. Remember the Segway? Absolutely incredible technology. That gyroscopic balancing was pure magic. It was supposed to transform personal transportation forever. Tech enthusiasts and visionaries loved it. But for the rest of us pragmatists, we had questions. What happens at stairs? Where do I park it? Is there infrastructure to support this? The complete solution wasn't there. So for most people, the Segway became a novelty, something for mall security and tour groups. It never crossed the chasm. So how do you escape? If you can't leap across, and you can't build a bridge to the entire mainstream market at once, what's the answer? This is where Moore introduces his brilliant counterintuitive strategy. He frames it with a powerful military analogy, the D-Day invasion. Think of it this way. You're the Allied forces, gathered in England, which represents the early market. Your goal is liberating all of Europe, which represents the mainstream market. The chasm is the English Channel. Your competitors are already entrenched on the other side. What you don't do is attack the entire European coastline simultaneously. That spreads your forces impossibly thin, and you'll be crushed everywhere. Instead, you concentrate overwhelming force on a single, strategic point. One small stretch of beach in Normandy. You establish a beachhead. You take that beach, secure it completely, and make it your base of operations. Only then, from that fortified position, do you expand into neighboring territories, and eventually, all of Europe. This, Moore insists, is the only way to cross the chasm. You must not chase the whole mainstream market. You must pick one tiny, specific niche market as your beachhead. Your goal isn't being a small player in a big market, it's being the biggest fish in a small pond. You target a niche so focused that you can dominate it entirely. You pour all your resources, sales, marketing, product development, into becoming the undisputed champion in that one single segment. This is incredibly painful for entrepreneurs. It feels like you're abandoning countless opportunities. Sales-driven companies want to chase every possible lead. But Moore is adamant. During the Chasm period, this approach is fatal. Trying to be everything to everyone means you'll be nothing to anyone. You're like trying to light a massive log with a single match. It won't work. You need kindling. That small, focused niche is your kindling. Once it's blazing, you can use it to ignite bigger logs. So the first step is to target the point of attack. How do you choose your beachhead? It's a high-stakes decision with limited data. You can't rely on spreadsheets alone. Moore says you need informed intuition. To sharpen that intuition, you create what he calls target customer scenarios. This isn't about abstract demographics. It's about crafting a vivid, one-page story about a specific person with a specific job who's experiencing genuine agony because of a broken process. You paint a picture of their day before your product exists. You detail their frustration, the money bleeding away, the opportunities slipping through their fingers. You make their pain visceral and real. Then you describe their day after your product arrives. You show exactly how your product, and only your product, eliminates that specific, excruciating problem. The perfect beachhead niche is a group suffering from the exact same intense pain so severe it creates a compelling reason to buy right now. This isn't a nice-to-have upgrade. This is a hair-on-fire emergency they need solved immediately. And because they're all in the same tight niche, they talk to each other. Once you solve the problem for one, word spreads like wildfire through that small community. Once you've identified your beachhead, the next step is to assemble the invasion force. Your invasion force centers on one of the book's most powerful concepts, the whole product. The idea is elegant. There's a gap between what you ship in a box, the generic product, and the complete experience customers need to achieve their goal. The whole product is everything bridging that gap. Software, hardware, training, support, consulting, industry standards, everything. Remember, visionaries in the early market will assemble this whole product themselves. Pragmatists in the mainstream market absolutely will not. They expect you to deliver it. This is where most companies fail catastrophically. They toss their generic product across the chasm and hope customers figure out the rest. That's like landing troops at Normandy without air support, naval bombardment, or supply lines. It's suicide. To cross the chasm, you must take complete responsibility for delivering the whole product to your beachhead niche. You don't have to build everything yourself. This is where partners and allies enter. Your job is being the general contractor, orchestrating all the pieces to create a seamless, complete solution for that one specific customer problem. Consider Moore's classic example, Documentum. In the early 90s, Documentum had powerful document management technology, but for years their sales stagnated. They were stuck in the chasm. Then they chose a tiny beachhead, regulatory affairs departments at top pharmaceutical companies. This group faced an excruciating problem. To get a new drug approved, they had to submit applications that could reach 500,000 pages, compiled from thousands of sources. Every single day spent wrestling with this paper nightmare wasted a day of patent protection, costing them roughly $1 million per day. Talk about a compelling reason to buy. Documentum focused everything on solving this one problem. They built the complete product for this specific niche, ensuring their software handled all the complex requirements of drug approval submissions. Within a year, they'd become the standard in that small community. They'd crossed the chasm. What happened next demonstrates the magic of this strategy. Once they dominated that beachhead, expansion began naturally. Other departments within pharmaceutical companies, research, manufacturing, started using their product. Then related industries like chemical manufacturing and oil refining adopted it. Documentum used their initial beachhead like a bowling ball knocking down adjacent pins. This is the bowling alley phase that follows crossing the chasm. Once you've chosen your beachhead and assembled your whole product invasion force, it's time to define the battle. This means positioning. And for companies in the chasm, positioning has one crucial, counterintuitive goal. You need to create your competition. Remember, pragmatists are nervous. They don't want to buy something in a category of one. It feels too risky. They need context, something to compare against. So you give them that context. Moore says you position against two competitors. First, the market alternative. This is the old, established way customers currently solve their problem. This is where their budget already lives. By naming the market alternative, you're saying, that money you spend every year on the old way, you should spend it on us instead, because we solve the core problem fundamentally better. For Documentum, the market alternative was the old paper-based manual process. Second, the product alternative. This is another new technology company also trying to solve the problem. By naming them, you validate that a genuine technology shift is happening. You're saying, it's not just us. The world is moving this direction. The time to act is now. But then you differentiate. Unlike them, we're the only ones who've built the complete solution specifically for your niche. This brilliant positioning makes you the obvious, safe, intelligent choice for pragmatists in your beachhead. You're anchored in a familiar budget category while offering a breakthrough solution laser-focused on their specific pain. You've made buying easy. The final step is to launch the invasion. This comes down to distribution and pricing. When crossing the chasm, your top priority is securing a distribution channel, a sales force, that your pragmatist customers already trust. This matters more than revenue, more than profit. How do you get that channel to risk promoting your new, unproven product? Your pricing must motivate the channel. This is another crucial insight. During the chasm crossing, you don't price for the customer, you price for your sales partners. You should price at a premium like a market leader, signaling confidence. But you build disproportionately high margins for the channel. You're rewarding them generously for the extra effort required to introduce disruptive products to conservative customers. By following these 4 steps, targeting a beachhead, assembling a whole product, defining competition, and launching through a motivated channel, companies can navigate the treacherous passage from early market to mainstream. But the journey doesn't end there. Leaving the chasm behind requires profound organizational transformation. Moore describes this as shifting from pioneers to settlers. The pioneers are early market heroes. They're brilliant engineers who love pushing technological boundaries. They're charismatic salespeople who can sell dreams to visionaries. They thrive on chaos, freedom, and doing things that have never been done. The settlers are mainstream market heroes. They're engineers who build infrastructure, who value stability, standards, and compatibility. They're account managers who build long-term, predictable relationships with pragmatist customers. They thrive on process, predictability, and building sustainable businesses. Companies that cross the chasm must learn to value and reward settlers. The pioneers, once the company's greatest asset, can become liabilities. They might grow bored with the steady, incremental work of serving the mainstream. They might keep trying to sell custom solutions to new visionaries, pulling the company back toward the chasm. This transition is painful. It requires cultural shifts, compensation changes, and power redistribution. But it's essential for long-term survival. The goal isn't eliminating pioneers, but moving them to new frontiers, new early-stage projects where their unique talents can shine again, while settlers build prosperous, lasting enterprises on the land they discovered. This is the complete journey Geoffrey Moore maps out. It's a transformation from a product-obsessed company, infatuated with its own technology, to a market-driven company, obsessed with solving customers' complete problems. It's a journey explaining why some ideas change the world, while others vanish without a trace. It is the art and science of crossing the chasm. When you step back and absorb Crossing the Chasm's core message, it's a profound lesson not just in business but in human nature. The book explores the tension between innovation and tradition, between dreamers who see what could be and pragmatists who keep the world running as it is. What makes Geoffrey Moore's work so enduring is that he doesn't just describe this tension. He provides a practical, actionable bridge between these two worlds. The D-Day analogy isn't just clever wordplay. It's a powerful mental model for focus. In a world constantly telling us to think big, scale fast, and chase massive markets, Moore's advice is radically disciplined. He tells us to think small, to focus intensely, to find the one place where you can make a genuine difference, and pour everything into winning there first. This lesson extends far beyond launching tech products. Whether you're starting a nonprofit, launching a creative project, or trying to create change in your community, the principle holds. Find your beachhead. Find that small group whose problem you're uniquely positioned to solve. Serve them so completely and thoroughly that they become your evangelists. From that small, secure base of success, you can begin changing the world. So what can you take away today? First, start noticing the chasm in your own life. Pay attention to new apps, ideas, or trends that are wildly popular with small, enthusiastic groups, but never catch on with everyone else. Ask yourself, is there a whole product? Who are the pragmatists, and is their problem actually being solved? You'll start seeing this pattern everywhere. Second, if you have your own idea, a project, a business, anything, resist the temptation to be everything to everyone. Instead, ask yourself, who is my beachhead? Who is the one person or group who needs what I offer more desperately than anyone else? What's the complete, whole product experience they need to succeed? Don't move forward until you've answered that with absolute clarity. The journey Moore describes isn't easy. It requires humility, focus, and courage to say no to 100 good ideas in order to say yes to one great one. But it's a proven path. It's the difference between an idea that flashes brightly, then fades, and one that builds a lasting fire warming the world for years to come. That was the book summary of Crossing the Chasm by Geoffrey Moore. We've covered the major landmarks today, but I'll be honest, a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. The real magic happens when you travel there yourself. It's in the quiet moments when a particular story or simple phrase connects with your own experience in unexpected ways. This summary helps you decide if this journey is one you want to take. If anything we've discussed today has sparked something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning business strategy. It's about gaining a new lens for seeing the world of ideas, innovation, and human progress. A link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and want to keep exploring ideas that shape our world, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.